Hi everyone, it's Fitz with the Walk and Talk as I sit here on my butt, but I got the K-State back there, so accomplished something. Kansas State, Oklahoma State Friday night down in Stillwater. An interesting Friday night contest in the conference. I think there's going to be a sold-out crowd on hand if everyone shows up for Oklahoma State. And who would blame them for not? Oklahoma State is in dire straits. This game is huge for that program, because in some ways last year's game with K-State here in Manhattan, just out there on the field, set in motion everything we see now. You lose 48-0 to a team that you've been very comparable with, if not better than, over about 18 years. When you lose that kind of game, it takes some wind out of your sails, but I think it exposed a lot of things that Oklahoma State does and doesn't do well. And you know what? I think everyone's kind of benefited from that. As Gundy's program, Mike Gundy's program, just seems to be in this horrible spiral that they can't get out of. A good way to get out of it is to take that off week, try to put in a few wrinkles, change things up on Kansas State, and show them a bunch of stuff you haven't shown. And why not? You've stunk at what you've shown this year, so why not just mix it up and go another direction? And I think K-State expects that. They expect to see things on both sides of the ball that haven't been on film, particularly with an offense that is struggling. This offense for Oklahoma State has been at or near the bottom of conference all season long. They just don't produce. They've settled in with Alan Bowman at quarterback, but look, he's not that great. But he's capable of having a big game, and that's exactly what K-State needs to guard against. K-State needs to make sure that Bowman doesn't kind of gather himself and this offense doesn't pull out enough plays where they get some rhythm, get some confidence, and get rolling against K-State. And for K-State, this game kind of ushers in the crucial stretch of this season. They're 3-1, 1-0 in the conference. Very winnable group of games here over the next 4 weeks before they play Texas, but you got to take them seriously, one at a time. And they're all capable of beating you, because we've been around the Big 12 a long time. We know what it's like. Anyone can beat anyone if they're not ready on Saturday, or in this case Friday. So we'll see if K-State comes out with the same kind of fire. If they come out and start clicking on offense after what happened last year, I kind of think Oklahoma State will say, the heck with this. Let's move on to something else. They just haven't been a resilient bunch. And as much as I want to talk about Oklahoma State maybe reinventing schemes and coming up with some trick things that might get them going and get some momentum, at the base of the problem, though, is just a lack of motivation and buy-in from the players. They're just not sold on what's going on. There's been a lot of talk about NIL and off the field stuff. And when your locker room's talking about that and fans are talking about that, you've lost focus on what you're there to do. And I think Oklahoma State has the potential to be a really good program again in the next couple of years. But Mike Gundy's got to change the way he's doing things. This was an interesting press conference from K-State, because Chris Kleiman told us that they work primarily with the younger developmental players throughout the off time. The week down, Asa Newsome, the linebacker, who played a little bit earlier in the season, been playing special teams, tore his ACL maybe, a knee injury that will take him out the rest of the year. They'll cause them to redshirt him since he'd played in only 4 games at the most. Just go ahead and take advantage of that. But that's another body at linebacker with Daniel Green already missing. It's funny how injuries kind of attack position groups, and right now it looks like a linebacker is going to take some heat. So keeping Jake Clifton and Austin Romaine, some of those guys that provide the crucial depth along that line, keeping them healthy is really important. And they want to focus on Clifton playing on the outside spots and backing people up. And I don't know if that means Bo Palmer at middle linebacker is going to actually see time this week in crucial periods of the game. But if K-State gets away from Oklahoma State again and starts, kind of asserting their dominance in this game like they did last year, you're going to see a whole bunch of guys, just a whole bunch of guys. But this is one of those games for K-State where you just got to take care of business. And that's true next week at Tech, and then following up with TCU and Houston coming to Manhattan. Just take care of business. Do what you do. Don't open up the door with turnovers, penalties, special teams problems for your opponent. And I will be fascinated to see how much K-State goes to the run in this game, how much they just try to establish that domination along the line of scrimmage that they had against UCF. Trayshawn Ward will be back in the backfield with DJ Giddens. What would be the balance there? It's very intriguing to me to see if what happened last time out against UCF 2 Saturdays ago, or was really tangible. Is it something that they can sustain throughout the season, or if it was just a function of UCF being a miserable tackling team. So I don't know. The GoPowercat crew will be down there Friday night. It'll be Cole Carmody and Zach Carlson on this one. I'll have a crackling post-game walk and talk from the studio. And next week it'll be Ryan Gilbert and Zach Carlson on their way to Lubbock. Well, that's it for this pre-game sit on my butt and chat. I hope you, if you're going to Oklahoma State, I hope you have a good time. It's one of my favorite road venues to visit. They're very good fans, and it's a fun place to watch a game. And plus, I got barbecue for pregame meal. That's important to me. The pregame meal is very important to me.